Zoom in on something, Lily.
You gotta get close. Look at that.
Hi. Whoa, look at that brain. Hello, it is Meredith
And Doug.
of This Place, here to discuss. His face is awesome every time I say this.
It just hurts so bad.
We're going to discuss the disability accessibility of the Cincinnati Museum Center.
Yeah, it was really fun. I did enjoy going, but we went because we heard the renovation was done, and by renovation was done means we now can walk into the main lobby again, but hardly any of the exhibits was open yet.
So what we're giving you today is a kind of a snapshot into where they are now. We plan to revisit them when they're finally reopen everything, which they said 2020 or 2021.
Between 20 and 2021. It's going to probably be somewhere in 21.
Okay, so we'll revisit them then and give a more comprehensive eval.
Yep.
So let's start off with mobility.
So it wasn't too bad. Nice big areas for the most part. Now the main sections of where the dinosaur exhibit is, that's the only thing right now that's set up for the history museum side. And
Natural history.
The natural history, which they took those signs down, by the way. It doesn't actually say natural history above it. They went back to the original signs that say incoming taxis. So you have two sides that says incoming and then outgoing. So on the incoming taxi side, where the dinosaurs was, there's inclines for the chairs to get down, so we didn't have to worry about stairs. But it kind of made it interesting when you're trying to stop and read or look at something that's on the incline. For example, they had like binoculars where you could look at certain parts of the dinosaurs through, which was on the incline. So when my daughter got to that part, she wanted to stand up and look at it in her chair. Well, the chair would have been sitting sideways and would not have been safe for her to do. So that kind of makes it difficult. You have anything to say about that?
No, I think that about covers it. But it's a good thing that they have those and not steps. So,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, that was nice.
Also, because they don't have everything completed yet, they have little pop-up shops in some of the exhibit areas. And we found that those pop-up shops, like little gift shops, were hard to navigate with chairs. There's not a lot there, but if you want to get around the whole thing, you really can't with a wheelchair.
No, they were pretty tight space. And that was mostly in the dinosaur exhibit also. There's still the gift shop at the front was open. We didn't go.
No, it wasn't.
Oh, it wasn't open, was it? No,
No.
You're right. They just had items in the window advertising it. So yeah, that's not even open yet. Ice cream shop's not open, which made me sad. Okay.
Yes. It's a great ice cream shop. It's so beautiful, but no, it wasn't open. Now, we went late November, and so they already had much of their holiday exhibits out. And so every year they set up a huge model train display, and we visited that this year. It's the first time we ever visited it. And they have a little train that kids can ride around a small track, but there are no restraints on that. So your kid really needs to be able to sit independently in order to ride that.
Yeah, the height limitation was 54 inches, and
You
it was a
can't-
tight.
You can't be above 54.
Yeah. If you can't get in there, so if you're you won't be able to sit in there and hold them. So if you have a child that needs help sitting up, they would have to have an able-bodied child that can sit in and help them.
Also, the train displays, if you've ever been to one before, you know that they're always pretty high off the ground, and so that can be a bit difficult if you are in a wheelchair in order to see everything, so know that as well.
They also, again, with our daughter, she loves to stand up on her chair and grab onto a railing or something to look at things, and she wanted to look at the trains, and the only place, there was nowhere to grab in front of the train display, like no railing or anything. She had to reach up and hold the top of the plexiglass that people were looking over. So that also, was making me very nervous because, if she pushes down the plexiglass, she could get hurt and she could break something some of those are pretty priceless train displays, how old they were and customized.
Now, there were many great things about the mobility accessibility, though, that we want to highlight. And so they have 2 elevators. There's one direct elevator that goes straight from the first floor down to their bottom floor. And their bottom floor houses all their special exhibits and the Children's Museum. And they have another elevator which does those 2 floors plus 2 mezzanine floors where the model train display was.
And the Lego display.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you can still get everywhere with the elevators, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
They also have adult changing tables.
Yes.
Woo!
Up to 400 pounds it could handle. So as long as you can lift them to the chair, up from the chair to there. But they were pretty low to the ground, so I'm pretty sure you could probably transfer from chair if the person can help any, I would think. Wouldn't you say? Like, it seemed, I didn't really
Maybe
get in there.
for you, I'm rather short. I could not.
Yeah, okay.
I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
All right.
You can also rent wheelchairs. So it's $10 a day. At the end of the day, you get $5 of that $10 back.
Yep.
So those are good things about the mobility. So overall, I would give the mobility there 4 out of 5.
Me too. Yeah, I would think so too. I know it sounded like we was complaining about things, but there was so many good things we didn't need to talk about, I guess, because it's set up. It's got public interest in mind. There's
push buttons on the doors and
right now. There
Yeah.
is one other thing we need to mention. The front doors are the original doors, and due to the age of the building, they are not very wide. They are probably, what did she say, like 32-inch wide doors. So if you have a wheelchair or a stroller that's wider than that, you will have a hard time getting it in. So they may have other entrances, but there wasn't anything obvious that we could see. So that's one more thing we just forgot to mention.
Yes, thank you. And if you have any additional questions, at the end of this broadcast, we're going to give you the contact information for a person that we spoke to who can help answer more accessibility questions.
It will also be down in the comments.
Yes.
So that way you can read in the description.
So moving on, visually impaired.
So visually impaired was kind of neat. They have Braille on some of the plaques. So
On the new plaques.
On the new plaques. So on the new plaques that they've put in there, you have the information of, at this time it was mostly the dinosaur exhibit, because to be fair, you had the dinosaurs to look at, which is permanent, and the Children's Museum, that's permanent. Everything else that we was able to go through is floating, is not permanent. So when we're talking about like the Braille in the main area, it's the dinosaurs, because the train display, the Lego display, the chocolate thing we went through, and the Children's Museum didn't have any.
No. And even in the dinosaur display, there was Braille for like one section of the description, but not the other, which I found really strange.
Yeah, and we did speak with what was her name?
Gwen Elliot.
Gwen, yes. So she did say that she's working on trying to get more Braille, including like a descriptive pamphlet that you can use if need be.
That you could check out.
Yeah. That is in the works, so don't go up and ask for it yet. I think they'll have it advertised once they have it everything set up. But the Braille was like on the basic, like, here is the type of thing you are looking at, and then they would actually have a metal, like a bronze cast of what you would be looking at. So if you can't actually see it, you can then feel it. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that was really neat.
Yeah.
Going back to your note about how they're working on possibly doing a Braille pamphlet, there is no audio tour.
No, not yet. I know that's another thing that may be in the works.
So I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah.
So visually impaired, what would you give it?
3? I mean, only because it's still in a work in progress. Or would you give it higher?
I was between a 2 and a 3.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like they got it on some levels, but then tragically failed in others.
But and to be fair, like what's going on right now with the renovations, we couldn't even see the IMAX or the observatory, which was that?
IMAX,
yeah.
they have the
IMAX,
there.
yeah. So that's completely under renovation, and that may up its score when that's done, and obviously when the entire museum's done. But yeah, I'm gonna go with a 3, just because the pop-up ones didn't have anything for visual.
All right, I'm gonna go with a 2.
Okay, there you go.
Hearing impaired. There are descriptions.
Not a lot of audio, really. You have in the moving exhibit, there was a lot of audio, like describing and watching videos and things like that.
That was in the chocolate exhibit.
In the chocolate exhibit that we went through, yeah.
Yeah, not in the regular.
Right. So, I
exhibit.
mean, visually, you can go and enjoy most of the museum.
And you can read the descriptions.
Yeah.
You can read the written descriptions that are on the plaque. You don't need to hear much.
No. So
at this point.
5? I mean, it's really...
I'd give it a 4.
I'd give it a 4? Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Sensory.
Sensory. Very loud. I mean...
It's a big rotunda when you enter, and so you can imagine how all that noise echoes off the ceiling and reverberates back. So if you do not do well in loud situations, please make sure you bring your noise-canceling headphones.
Yeah. And same with the museum area where the dinosaurs was. I mean, that was pretty loud, too. Only because dinosaurs, kids love them, so they're loud around them. Like, look at it.
It's true.
So...
however, they do have 4 quiet rooms there.
And it's spread out around the building, yeah.
And they're spread out around the building.
Some are not in service yet, but they are working on getting everything ready.
And they're not... I wouldn't say they're great. Some of them, the one quiet room that I went into, the wall didn't meet the ceiling, and so there was still noise and light flooding the room a little bit, but it was an improvement from being in the general area.
Yep.
So, sensory.
Due to the fact that when someone goes to a museum, they know what they're going into. They already know it's going to be loud and noisy. But since they've got the quiet rooms, I'm going to give it, I think it's worth a 4, just because they know that they know what they are.
I'd give it a 4 too.
Yeah.
I think they do pretty good. So the last part is medical concerns. We were there. Now, here's the thing. We told you that was under renovation, and so there wasn't a lot to see. We saw a dinosaur exhibit, the Children's Museum, the traveling exhibit Chocolate, the annual train display, and a little bit of...
A Lego display.
Lego display. I'm counting that in the train.
Oh, with
display.
the train. Okay, gotcha.
But a little bit of an old display that they had that was like Cincinnati streets of the 1800s.
Yeah.
That still took us all day.
It did, yeah.
And they had that. I mean, that's probably only 60% of the exhibits.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I think when it's all done, you may need to plan 2 days if you have small children.
And it's just exhausting.
It really is.
So if you know walking long distances is going to be a problem, if you know that you're prone to exhaustion on long days, and that exhaustion can trigger medical conditions that you have, please make sure you take measures to avoid that.
Yeah. Definitely, if you feel that might be an issue, show up early, get one of their chairs, and use it. Nobody will fault you for that.
Finally, food allergies. So they have their menu listed and posted. They do have gluten-free options, and I didn't see anywhere where they had nuts in their food.
No, I didn't see it.
Even their peanut butter and jelly, and I say that in quotes, is actually seed butter and jelly. But people can bring their luncheon to the museum center, and they don't regulate that, and so you could be sitting next to someone who has a PB&J sandwich. You never know. Mm-hmm. So just be aware of that.
Yeah. They have two. Now, to be fair, when you bring your lunch, most of the time that's downstairs in front of the Children's Museum. They have picnic tables set up down there. When you buy your lunch, they have a dining hall upstairs off of the rotunda. So it might be just be aware of where you're at. If you're worried about it, I would just eat upstairs.
That's a good suggestion.
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't...
It's not 100%, but...
Yeah, people still bring their lunch upstairs, but you're right.
Yeah.
More homemade lunches are going to be eaten downstairs.
Yeah.
So, overall medical conditions, I'd probably give it... I'd give it a 4, because it's inside, and they do what they can.
Yeah, I give it a 4, too. And I think it would be better once they get all the exhibits in there, because I think they'll have more seating area, so you can sit down and relax. So, it's a good start, and we know that it just opened up back to the public for the most part. I mean, for a long time, it was only the Children's Museum open.
Yeah.
So,
again, the name of the accessibility, the person responsible for accessibility at the Museum Center is Gwen Elliot. Her email is accessibility@cincymuseum.org. And again, we'll put this in our comments or in the description so you can go straight to that. So if you have any other questions that we did not answer here, she said please reach out to her.
Yep. Yeah, she'll be happy to answer any questions and concerns you have on accessibility.
And she was super personable. So,
she came up to meet us out of her busy day and talked with us for a good 20 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a good conversation.
So I think that's it.
Yeah, it was great, and we'll see you
in December.
Yeah.
Which
this is December probably when this comes out, but this was recorded in November, so it counts for November.
And I'm not sure what we'll do in December. I think it's between the PNC Festival of Lights at the zoo or Winterfest at Kings Island. But you'll know when we release it.
Hooray! All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.